Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper wow, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lads. Thank you, little lads. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are, aren't they, my little lovelies? Now then. So, so it's the 6th of May 2025, my delicious little babies. The sun is shining, weather is sweet, yeah. Okay, my delicious little babies. Very little clouds today because there's a zums were up in the sky from what time was it? 11 minutes past 8 this morning. Mind you, I have seen them in the very the early hours of the morning as well, my delicious little babies. Still a bit chilly, okay, my delicious little babies, but we are seeing some blue sky, okay? So take the notice in my hair. I look like a bit like Wurzel Gummidge, not to worry. Anyway, so it's nearly 25 to 3 in our old England, my delicious little babies. And yes, it is a super duper day today, and I've had an even more super duper day because I'm going to be receiving a brand new boiler, my delicious little babies. Look at that. I've only had to wait 9.5 years, my delicious little babies. Anyway, I'm not complaining. Okay, my delicious little babies. And the thing is, it started to work again, my delicious little babies. Okay, it just, for some reason, my beautiful little boiler, bless, seems to have a mind of her own. So we're still hearing the foghorns. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay. But of course, I've got my beautiful little washer on the spin as well, my delicious little babies. Okay. So somebody is doing some spins with, some spins with something in the world, my delicious little babies. Now then. So, you know that song? Do you ever remember Mel and Kim? What is it? Tay, 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 tay. You know that one? Take or leave us, only please believe us. We ain't never gonna be respectable. Do you remember that song, my delicious little babies? I wonder what year that was. Anyway, my delicious little babies. So, I have 2 pieces of information for you, my little beautifuls. Okay. Oh, and I just want to tell you something else. So I was listening to, and with anybody not in that way. Lovely, iconic, on YouTube, my delicious little babies. Okay. I'm always mentioning, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies. And there's something that dear Gareth said this morning. Now, yesterday, right, I've never ever seen this before. It's the first ever time I've ever seen it, my delicious little babies. And up in the tree, okay, there was a crow and there was a magpie. Honestly, I've never seen it before in my life. And when he mentioned towards the end of his video, my delicious little babies, you only have to type in iconic space Gareth space arc. Okay, my delicious little babies. Well, he was talking about, little birdies, towards the end of his video, okay? And I thought, gosh, yes. Was it yesterday afternoon? And I was looking up at the tree, and this little magpie was really, there we are, tormenting our little crow, my delicious little babies. So honestly, it's like he was running, the little magpie, bless, was running rings around the little crow. There we are. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Really tormenting. Anyway, so when he mentioned it, I thought, gosh, yes, because that happened yesterday, And of course, I've seen other strange things like, months ago, a pussycat climbing up the tree. Well, I haven't seen that for years, my delicious little babies, okay? And I've certainly never seen it climb up a tree that is just over there, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay? So, and not only that, but I've noticed with my beautiful little Maisie, because my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday, she's just having a snooze. She's doing a few odd things, my delicious little baby. So I don't know what's happening here. There we are. There's definitely something happening, okay? And even for some other little pussycat, you know, it's like, I don't know, like there we are, like they're sensing something. There we are, my delicious little babies. It's like that. Do you see what I mean? It's really hard for me to explain what I'm saying, okay? Anyway, but I thought I'd just share that with you, yes? And in the end, they both flew off. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so, right, where do we go first? Right, this is the first one, my delicious little babies, both on YouTube, okay? Please and thank you. Should anybody have any form of an interest, this video is over 59 minutes long, my delicious little babies. I'm a quarter of the way through, but so far, we're just over a quarter of the way through, but so far, there we are. I am, sorry, liking that video, and I never needed to stumble there, okay, my delicious little babies, anyway. So I put a little, you know, comment just to say thank you and blessings. Do you understand what I mean? Yes. And this is called, the uploader, sorry, happens to have 3.72 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. Capital R, integrity, space, capital R again, Ireland. Okay, my delicious little babies. So, should read in the old space bar, integrity, space, Ireland. Okay, my delicious little babies. I've never seen this uploader before, so it's more than likely going to be a one-off. Okay, my delicious little babies. The video should read value systems and the true cost of living. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Value systems and the true cost of living. Yes, my delicious little babies, and the part that I'm up to is where your man there, who's Irish, is reading out, you know, what we had decades and decades and decades ago, you know, and what made us happy and what was, there we are, of value in the lives of, you know, like our ancestors and things now. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So I'm up to that part. So I should be listening to the rest of it when I come off my video to your beautiful little selves, okay, my delicious little babies, because I really need to get my back weeding done in my back garden. I was meant to do it the other day, so I'm going to have to do it today, okay, and I'm going to do it while the sun's out, you know what I mean, okay, my delicious little babies. Very good video to listen to, my delicious little babies, and I will listen to it till the end, okay. Now, the final one, now I've never seen this one before, my delicious little babies, okay. I mean, for some of you, you may know these uploaders, but for myself, I do not. Now, I may very well look at some other little videos of this little uploader, my delicious little babies. So this uploader, again on YouTube, my delicious little babies, happens to have 866 subscribers, my delicious little babies. Now, the first video that I just mentioned was uploaded, I think, over 12 hours ago. And this video here, which came up on my feed, like I said, I've never seen this uploader either before, my delicious little babies, and I'm so glad, there we are, that it did come up on my feed. And like I said, with anybody not in that way, okay, it is because of what it's concerning, okay, my delicious little babies. Well, this uploader is called capital W, Wayne, you know, as in Wayne's World, okay, my delicious little babies, okay, space, capital L, Leighton. So it should read in the old space bar in YouTube, Wayne space Leighton. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, and bless him, but like I said, this video was uploaded a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. At that point, he just started a Facebook group, okay, my delicious little babies. Now, this video should read, and it's just over 34 minutes long, my delicious little babies, okay, so it's not a long video. And this is to do with the council tax, yeah, my delicious little babies. So I'm just going to read it out to you. Abuse of council tax enforcement to be heard in the High Court. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Abuse of council tax enforcement to be heard in the High Court. Yes, my delicious little babies. So now we're going to close our book, and we must also remember. So thank you, dear little uploaders, bless. And of course, I put thank you on there as well, and blessings to him. Do you see what I mean? Yes, okay. So we need to always remember to go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies. So anyway, let's discuss. So this is going to be taking place in the High Court on May the 13th this year, my delicious little babies, okay? And with Wayne, okay, what he's talking about, there we are, is the council tax. Now, when he initially started, he was actually doing it to help a friend. Okay, my delicious little babies, bless his dear little soul. Yes, okay. Then, of course, you know, things have just, do you know what I mean? Well, let's just say there was some escalation, shall we say, my delicious little babies, okay? But he's absolutely, there we are, banging correct. And if we had more of Wayne, you know, like I said, not in that way, not in that way. If we had more of Wayne, bless him, okay, there we are, then we would be, I feel, getting somewhere, there we are, very quickly, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. Now, of course, for me, myself, I have had run-ins with bailiffs myself, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. And, of course, the bailiff, okay, puts me down on his iPad as an awkward customer, apparently, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So, sorry, excuse me. I'm just going to have a sip of my fresh grapefruit, squeezed, fresh oranges too, squeezed, and a squirt of ginger, my delicious little babies. So 3, 2, 1, please and thank you. This has got little bits in it as well, my delicious little babies. Anyway, so let me continue. So, yeah, so I've had run-ins with him myself. So I then explained, because you have to look at as well in DuckDuckGo article, there we are, Article 61. But I was explaining to the bailiff that if he knew the true reason why everybody in England, in old England, is being, you know, let's just say having ka-ching, because I feel it's been stolen from us, my delicious, there we are, stolen from us, my delicious little babies, okay? Because none of us have contracted to anything. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? That he really would not want to do his job. My delicious little babies, do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay. But it's the part when he said, you've been to court. I said, no, I have not been to court. I said, why are you telling me that I've been to court when I have not? You say, because as we very well know, the councils hire the courts. My delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? Anyway, and one's only need, so I'm going to repeat this again, to go on to old YouTube in the old space bar. Should anybody have any form of an interest, to be typed in, please and thank you, sweet, space, strawman. Yeah. And of course, for myself, I've known, there we are, for years now. It's just that it took me a while to say to myself, you know, because I suppose in a way it was that fear. But once I put the fear aside, I said, no, I'm not paying it. And I think it's been, what now? Is it just over 3 years or something like that? I haven't paid it. Because why do I want to pay for Mark Ching to go and bomb, there we are, other countries and to buy weapons, my delicious little babies, okay? But we do not get told none of that. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. So I had to, what's the word? I had to psych myself up to say no, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I can't go on. No, 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 enough is enough. Do you see? Okay. So yes, I did know for years, but I thought, well, how can I get out of not paying it? Now, if it was going towards potholes, services which, we are all entitled to, okay, in order to live in a wonderful way, then I'd say, yes, fine, I'll pay the ka-ching, but I'm not paying it. And I refuse to do it. Because at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, this is totally, there we are, wrong, what is being done. And on this particular video, my delicious little babies, okay, this dear woman now, what happened? They imprisoned her. I mean, she got out, but they imprisoned her. So you haven't signed a contract, and they just send you this letter, and they send you this notice when we haven't contracted to nothing. Well, how does that work then? Do you know what I mean? Isn't that extortion, taking ka-ching from us? There we are, because it must be, mustn't it? It cannot be anything else. But it is a form of tea leaving, my delicious little babies, okay? And for some, I mean, they're so worried. I mean, I spoke to somebody, when was it? Weeks ago now. And he said, oh, bless him, he was like an older gentleman, not in that way, and happened to be walking around with me beautiful little Ruby Tuesday. And he just said, oh, no, because they're going to come to our door. And do you see what I mean? So what they do, they instill that, there we are, that fear. And to be honest with you, my delicious little babies, I used to really fear the council tax. Do you know what I mean? Because I never wanted bailiffs at my door or anything like that. But once I put the fear aside, because that's what it is, you have to put the fear aside and you have to say, okay, enough is enough now. So that is what I did. You see? And to be honest, they're still sending letters. But what happens to those letters? Bin it. That's what I do, my delicious little babies, okay? So it's not for the point that I do not, or the fact that I do not want to pay, but why should I be paying for that? I mean, and right now in Gaza, oh, bless the beautiful dear little souls, honestly, they are really, there we are, suffering. Little bairns are going hungry, not getting any food. It's disgusting, man, what's going on. So why should my council tax pay for that? No. I refuse, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? So no, they don't do anything to help us. And anyway, all we have is flipping sharty, flipping dirty water now and everything like this now then. Do you see what I mean? Potholes in the roads. Forever getting flipping, one's getting speeding tickets, and they're ever so flipping sneaky, because they park like a van. My delicious little babies, okay, yeah. So they're sent out, aren't they, to go click, 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 click. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? You know what I'm saying? And I got a flipping speeding ticket once as well, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, had to go and attend one of these, these bloody things. Do you know what I mean? But when I asked questions, say, there was one dear woman, she flipping burst out laughing. Do you see what I mean? Okay, but here's the thing. When you speak to these so-called tutors, trying to explain to us how not to speed, okay, my delicious little babies, well, the fact of the matter is they could not answer the questions, there we are, that I was asking. They see me as like in the classroom, as being outspoken and probably gobby, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? But when I walked in and we were waiting to go into that classroom, I was counting everybody who got a speeding ticket. Let me tell you, this is serious. There we are, business. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? And I wouldn't even mind, but I wasn't even really speeding, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's been many years where there we are, you put your foot down. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? You know, and occasionally there we are, a bit of road rage. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay. No, because it pees you off, doesn't it? If someone cuts you up or something like that. I don't mean in literal terms, my delicious little babies. What I mean is that, you know, that you could be happily driving along, you know, and then someone just goes, whoom, do you know what I mean? Like they're in one of these video games or something, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay, so yes, I'll cuss them. Do you know what I mean? So there has been times where the old fingers have been stuck up. Do you see what I'm saying to you, my delicious little babies, okay? Because it does change you off. You know, you just want to be able to drive on the road peacefully. Do you see what I mean? Okay, but you're always going to get some mothers, there we are, do have them, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But I would not have said that I should have received a speeding ticket for that, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? I was really cheesed off. I really was, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay, but it's big. There we are. It's big business. So what they do is they send out the vans so many times. There we are, a year. My delicious little babies. They're ever so sneaky. You know, lower than a snake's belly, and you cannot get flipping lower than that. Do you see what I mean? Okay, because they're doing the dirty work, isn't it? That's the reason why, my delicious little babies. So. But getting back to this video now, no, please, there we are, please and thank you, take a listen to this, but bless him. Bless his dear little soul. Bless you, Wayne Leighton. There we are. And what he's doing is he's trying to get his the word out, the information out. Bless him, there we are. And hopefully, even with myself advertising him, there we are, that this happens. Do you see what I mean? And if anybody else can see his video, they can pass it on. Do you see what I mean? There we are. This is so super duper important. But anyway, there are far more now who have woken up to this. There we are. They have. And you'd be pretty surprised at how many are not paying. Just like when they brought in that, when was that? Was it last year or something? When they brought it in, because they brought it into Brummyland as well, my delicious little babies. You know, unless your car or van is so many years old or whatever it is, that you have to pay something like $12.50 or something. Well, anyway, our Brummy council there now then, there we are, because there were too many. How many was there? Anyway, it was between 70 and 80. See, those figures again, my delicious little babies, those numbers, you see, who refused to pay. So the council, only from what I heard, had to, there we are, write it off. Because one's just refused, there we are, to pay. You see, so it does show that if you get enough together, you know, to say, well, no, we're not putting up with this. Do you see what I mean? There we are, that they will push back on it. There we are. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Because I realise that, you know, ones are just not going to, there we are, keep, you know, forking out. That's, you know, an old-fashioned saying, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? I mean, some, they go to work, you know what I mean? It's been a hard day's night. What is it? And I've been working like a dog. What year's that song, my delicious little babies? It just came into my mind, I don't know, guy. So, yeah. So, you know, if one's working super duper hard, then they've got to pay out the council tax, and they've got to pay out these silly damn things to go to drive into the town centre, my delicious little babies. I mean, it's going to really rack everybody. There we are. It's going to really rack everybody off. Do you see what I mean? Okay. But change can only be made, there we are, when we stand together, not in a nasty way, but you stand together, you say no. And really, the ones who work in the councils, my delicious little babies, I mean, they do not do their research. They're just like, not being nasty, they're like, there we are, little robots. You know, they do their 9 to 5, and then they go home, sit in the cosy home, you know what I mean, okay, eat the food, you know, have the drinky poos, whatever they do, you know, drive a flash murder for some of them, okay? But they do no research, my delicious little babies, okay? So when they're wanting to come down on others now, you know, that's just figure of speech, my delicious little babies, okay? They need to understand, there we are, what they're talking about. And it appears that for most of them, they do not have a clue. And that is the truth, my delicious little babies. And it's not just our Brummy Council, it's many others. They just do not have a clue, you know, because they haven't been taught anything. But if they knew the truth, they wouldn't want to pay the council tax themselves. In fact, I do not even feel they'd even want to be doing their jobs. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, so really, if you look at it, it can have an effect. Okay, and that's how I'm going to leave it, my delicious little babies. So yeah, I've had a little bit of a sing-song, you know what I mean, today, my delicious little babies, okay? But now I want to try and get a tiny bit of vitamin D on my old birth race, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay? Because come on, I've got to get some form of a flipping tan on my birth race this year. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? I'm fed up of looking like, it's only a figure of speech, my delicious little babies. I'm trying to make, you know, make a bit of light here. Do you know what I mean? I'm fed up of looking like, you know, like a bottle of pasteurised milk. My delicious little babies. You know what I mean? So it'd be really nice if I could get a bit of a suntan this year, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, when you've got a tan, you know, you feel that we are super duper healthy. Well, I do anyway, my delicious little babies, and I love the sun. There we are, and the sun loves me. And I never needed to stumble there, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But we hardly ever get any sun. Okay, my delicious little babies, so wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies, and we must continue to shine that light, shine that light, shine that light. Okay, my delicious little babies, and sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. Please take care of yourselves now. Please try to take care of others, okay? Because we are in a bonkers, crackers, and crazy world, my little beautifuls, okay? And we've got to continue to good vibrations. So until my next video, to you all, my little beautifuls that you all are, thank you so very much for any views. There we are, for any likes and for the occasional comments. And how, there we are, I love you also. You're beautiful, wonderful, and delicious, and I love you. Okay? So take care. Goodbye.